Concern and commitment for the safety and health of all employees is a high priority. Throughout the world, there are disasters of many types, such as hurricanes, floods, bombs, toxic chemical releases, radioactive releases, fires, tornadoes, earthquakes, and other disasters. One of the most important considerations in surviving any type of disaster is preparing for the emergency. That's our goal, and we ask your support and participation in our program at all levels. We also encourage you to take your new knowledge home to your families. At work, there are many telephone numbers that are posted for emergencies. The same applies to your home, because emergencies can happen there also. Be sure you maintain a complete list of telephone numbers for all types of emergencies. The Emergency Evacuation Preparedness Program is an ongoing program with priority for life safety and life-sustaining actions before, during, and following an emergency. It's important that the emergency plan be updated periodically and that everyone is properly trained in their responsibilities of the plan. Emergency action drills should be scheduled periodically to make sure the plan works. Let's now take a look at a basic emergency evacuation program, which may be similar to your specific plan, and see how you may be affected. Each building and each floor should have an assigned floor warden who will be the on-scene person responsible for emergency action as dictated by a particular emergency. These floor wardens are trained in emergency procedures and should be readily identified by a specific means, such as wearing colored hard hats or vests. These persons are trained to help guide you through the emergency. Emergency plans include each building and surrounding area with possible emergency action procedures for different emergencies. Right now, let's review some emergency evacuation basics. First, the most important thing to remember in case of an emergency: don't panic. Keep your voice level calm, and if ordered to do so, exit the building calmly. Don't push or crowd others, and don't run. When people panic, that's when injuries occur, and in many cases, panic causes more injuries, and in some cases, death. If someone does panic, help reassure them and lead them to safety. Don't fight with them, but help them to reach safety. Rarely does the disaster cause the most damage. It's the panic that creates the injuries. If people are injured or handicapped, assist them to the safe area. When you safely evacuate the building, be sure to report to your scheduled evacuation assembly area. This is extremely important because your supervisor must take a roll call to determine if everyone is safely out of the building. If you are not accounted for, then it will be assumed you are still inside the building. One major responsibility is for everyone to know the location of all emergency exits. Take a minute. Look around. Where are the emergency exits? People that have been working in a building for many years may not realize where the emergency exits are located because everything is routine and you don't notice or pay attention to something that's always been there. Do you know where fire extinguishers are located and how to use them? Everyone says they know how to use fire extinguishers because it's so simple. But in an actual emergency, people may not know how to use an extinguisher. So it's up to you to learn before the emergency occurs. Okay, you know where the exits and fire extinguishers are located, and you know how to use the extinguishers. But there's more. When you evacuate the building in an emergency, make sure everyone is evacuated safely. There may be visitors or guests who may not know where the exits are located. Perhaps someone didn't hear the alarm or didn't pay attention to the alarm. It's like a car alarm in the parking lot. Not many people pay attention to the alarm. It's quite possible someone was in the restroom, other secluded areas, or maybe they are hearing impaired. Make sure everyone leaves the building when ordered to evacuate. Be sure all doors are closed and that all power equipment is turned off, such as copy machines, computers, and other electrical equipment if at all possible. Never use the elevator in an emergency. In an emergency, elevators can be disabled and become a death trap, so keep away from elevators in an emergency. Use the emergency exits and stairs. In case of a fire, take extreme caution when evacuating through closed doors, as a fire may be on the other side of the door. Feel the top of the door with the back of your hand. If the door is cool to the touch, open the door slowly. Be prepared to close it immediately if necessary. Of course, if the door is hot, don't open it, as a fire could be on the other side, and by opening the door, you could allow the fire to escape into your area. Keep the door closed to prevent the fire from spreading. If you feel you're trapped in a particular room or area, remain calm. Don't panic. Help is on the way. In the event of smoke, keep low to the floor. Smoke rises to the top, and if you're low to the floor, this will reduce the amount of toxic smoke you'll be breathing. Smoke inhalation is the leading cause of death in fires. Keep in mind that fires are not the only disasters or emergencies, so it's important to follow your company's procedures to ensure your safety, no matter what emergency arises. How do you know when to evacuate the building? Generally, there are alarm systems in each building on each floor. When the alarm is sounded, your floor warden will take action to guide and direct the evacuation of the building. It's your responsibility to follow these directions and move safely to your evacuation assembly area for roll call. Many organizations have installed strobe lights to help hearing-impaired employees. Guests and visitors recognize the alarm, but it's your job to make sure everyone hears or sees the alarm for the safe evacuation of everyone. Let's review some emergency plans for different types of buildings. One of the most important parts of the plan is to know where your evacuation assembly area is located. Different departments and different buildings will select an assembly area, which is in a safe area away from the building. This is where you assemble after an evacuation has been made. Once at your assigned assembly area, remain there until your supervisor provides further instructions. In the event you can't make it to your assigned evacuation assembly area, go to a safe area and report to the supervisor in charge that you are not in your assigned area. This will help in relaying information to your supervisor that you are safe, but located in a different area. Accountability for everyone is extremely important, and in an emergency situation, there may be a lot of confusion, but it's important to know where everyone is located. In most cases, there will be 2 or 3 zones identified in the emergency plan. Generally, the hot or red zone is the building that is affected by the emergency. The yellow zone may be identified where emergency crews and equipment will operate to suppress the emergency or to stage equipment. The green zone or cold zone is where assembly or safe areas are located. In the event of an emergency, get to the green or cold zone as quickly as possible and don't interfere with emergency crews. If they need your assistance, they'll ask for it. Let's now look at some special precautions that can be taken for your protection in an emergency. In certain critical areas, such as telephone switchboards, electrical rooms, boilers, and computer rooms, there may be special fire extinguishing systems that will automatically activate in case of a fire. In this case, you should exit these areas as quickly as possible because the extinguishing system may be harmful to your health, or it may remove oxygen from the air or create other potential hazards. You can see here the activation of a carbon dioxide system in a newspaper press area. You'll notice the large amount of extinguishing agent being expelled. It will put out the fire, but it could be harmful to anyone in the area. In this case, it's a carbon dioxide system that will reduce the amount of oxygen in the air. There are many types of extinguishing agents, including water from sprinkler systems, halon, foam, and others. Don't take chances. If an automatic extinguishing system activates, then it's time to get out of that area. There are adequate fire extinguishers throughout the buildings, and if you can safely extinguish a small fire, then you should do that. However, life safety is much more important than property. So, if there is any danger to your safety, get out and leave fire suppression to trained professionals. In most cases, there is a supply of chemicals and flammable liquids that could be released in case of fire or other disasters. In the event of an emergency in these areas, notify security so proper emergency procedures can be implemented, including spill cleanup or control of releases of toxic chemicals. If you have gasoline pumps outside, they will have emergency shutoff switches, which should be turned off in the event of an emergency. What other responsibilities do you have in the event of an emergency? First of all, if it's a bomb, earthquake, hurricane, or tornado, and you do not have time to evacuate the building, remember the words duck, cover, and hold. Duck under a heavy desk, table, or other solid structure. Cover your head and eyes for protection from flying debris or other objects. Hold your position until the all clear has been sounded. If you are not near a desk, seek shelter in an inner hallway or curl up against an inner wall and protect your head, neck, and back. Avoid window and glass areas. Stay clear of file cabinets or large objects that could fall or move. Watch out for falling ceiling panels, lights, and other debris. If possible, go to the nearest stairway and duck, cover, and hold. Stay put until your floor warden or other emergency response personnel instructs you to move. Outside hazards such as overhead electrical power lines and transformers need to be evaluated before evacuation, if at all possible. When directed, go to the nearest assembly area, as all persons must be accounted for by supervisors or emergency response personnel. Emergency action plans include proper medical facilities, transportation, and certainly communications. In the event of a prolonged disaster or emergency, communications to your relatives and friends is of vital importance. They want to know how you are, and you want to know the same information about them. Most organizations have provided for these services. However, no communication systems is foolproof. So, you should also make plans and personal arrangements regarding communications in case of an emergency. The need for communications to the outside world has been proven in earthquake situations, hurricanes, tornadoes, and other disasters. Your company is concerned with all aspects of safety and your well-being in emergency plans. Think about safety and emergency action procedures because when you need them, it may be too late to start learning them. Take safety home with you and make emergency preparedness a part of your own family's well-being and training. Thank you.